Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the top YouTuber on this website, none other than Felix Kjellberg, or PewDiePie himself. PewDiePie is one of the biggest channels that's out there right now. In fact, the biggest if you don't count those big conglomerate corporate channels. But yes, PewDiePie is the biggest individual creator on this website, and for good reason. He's been around for a long time. He makes entertaining videos that many people love. He talks about gaming, and even he talks about some politics and social issues these days too. Mostly though it's gaming, mostly it's commentary, funny videos, stuff like that. I think we're all familiar with some PewDiePie videos, and recently he's come under fire once again. Now, if you're not familiar with his controversies, every once in a while, the leftists and the SJWs, they like to come after PewDiePie because we all know that these guys love attacking things that are popular. That's why they go after video games, movies, big TV shows. They're constantly complaining about the casting, saying that the director should be this race or gender, saying this character, this movie needs more women, stuff like that. And with Felix, he's no different. He's the top YouTube channel, so he constantly gets backlash from lots of these people in the mainstream media. They love coming after him because he's popular, he's successful, and most importantly, he won't come under their thumb. PewDiePie is an independent person. He's pretty apolitical. A lot of people will say, I think he kind of leans towards our more conservative, more traditional side. He is a married man. He has a wife who's very beautiful. They had a lovely wedding, a very traditional wedding. And like I was about to say, another reason he's hated is because he's a straight white male who does well, and he's rich, and he's very successful, so he gets a lot of flack for that. And in addition, recently he's been getting some new backlash because he just recently signed a new streaming deal with YouTube, and he's going to be streaming exclusively on YouTube going forward, and this has sparked new controversies around the guy. We're going to get to some SJWs talking crap about him later, and we're going to also talk about the details about his story and the streaming deal real soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our loyal sponsors at Virtual Shield, who without their support, this show wouldn't be possible. With the majority of the world's workforce now working from home, VPN security is now preferred. Cyber spying is at an all-time high, and a useful tool you can use to protect yourself is a VPN, or a virtual private network, to scramble your computer's identity from nosy cyber criminals. Those guys are the worst. Due to the recent pandemic, Virtual Shield also wants to offer 50% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access, and VIP Performance plans. And also, every time you guys sign up, it helps support this channel here on YouTube. Thanks again for your time, and now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to talking about PewDiePie. He, of course, has gotten into drama before for mostly saying some inappropriate things, not really what I would call a bad thing, but when you get strict and when someone's this popular, even the smallest little joke or the littlest slip up will get him in trouble. He's been called racist, he's been called anti-Semitic even, and it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty much based on nothing but maybe a few bad jokes, and I personally have experience with this too. I'm called a racist and anti-Semitic pretty much all the time on the internet. You get kind of used to it over the years, but it still is pretty frustrating, especially when people like us, like me and PewDiePie, we're just funny guys. We're not super offensive if you really pay attention. I know people disagree with us vehemently, and for me specifically, I'm more political. I'm making more statements. I'm supporting America, supporting our president, so those things can be considered controversial these days. But all in all, we're just people making videos, and we're not saying anything racist. PewDiePie is not offensive. I know he doesn't hate any races. He doesn't hate Jewish people. He doesn't hate minorities. That's all obvious. But regardless, the media comes after him for it anyway, and we're going to see that real soon. One particular character that's going to come up is, of course, Franchesca Ramsey. I got to mention her in the title of this video, and for good reason. She decided to come after PewDiePie in light of this new contract he got too, and it's pretty ridiculous what she had to say. But before we even get to that, let's first just talk about the deal. This article has more details. It's called YouTube Signs PewDiePie in an Exclusive Deal. So another thing you might not be aware of is PewDiePie had kind of streamed on different platforms recently. He was known to kind of spark up a few streams on this new website called DLive, and also he's tried a few other things. He's not necessarily ever left YouTube. He's always made YouTube videos, and then he kind of streamed in a few other places. And now I think YouTube is trying to lock him in, which is smart for them. I mean, he's their biggest creator. YouTube should be locking down someone like PewDiePie. He's got a great record, great videos, great quality. Maybe not for everyone. Like I said, I've watched his stuff over the years, but I'm not like the biggest on gaming videos. I mean, he does different stuff now. He does more commentary as well, but you know, that's the style that's popular. That's what YouTube's going for, and signing him for an exclusive stream deal is smart on their part. Let's see what else they have to say. Felix Kjellberg, popularly known as PewDiePie, is YouTube's biggest individual creator with over 104 million subscribers on the platform. He is also one of the most influential personalities on the internet, as his videos have surpassed 25 billion views. PewDiePie's YouTube channel dates back to 2010. He began his journey by uploading gameplay and commentary videos on games like Minecraft, Amnesia, and Call of Duty. Over the years, PewDiePie evolved his content to include a wide range of comedy and reaction videos based on a variety of topics. It brought him immense success, a huge fan following, as well as millions in revenue. Earlier in 2019, the 30-year-old Swede had switched to live streaming for DLive and gained over 800,000 followers. On May 4th, YouTube announced that PewDiePie signed a deal to live stream exclusively on the platform owned by Google. However, the statement included no specifications about the monetary incentives of his agreement with YouTube. Okay, well, I'm sure he's getting paid pretty well for that exclusive deal. You know, PewDiePie is a hot commodity online right now. He's already been paid handsomely, but as long as he produces popular content, it's his right to put it out there and to monetize it how he wants. He wants to keep putting up on YouTube. If he wants to stream on another site, he wants to come back to YouTube, whichever he prefers. I understand maybe coming back to YouTube with a good deal. They'll probably give him some promises too, like saying, hey, we're going to do better. We're going to curate an audience. We're going to bring in this for you. And it's just going to be a more welcome situation since they want him, since they're buying that exclusivity. But what's really interesting here is the backlash to this, and whenever it gets a little uncomfortable is when people start attacking PewDiePie again, because again, as I mentioned, this guy is basically a Boy Scout. He's never done anything really offensive. All he's done is be popular and exist, and he's a straight white male who's married and living a traditionally influenced lifestyle, and that's enough to trigger a lot of these leftists. Now, let's go ahead and skip over to the next beat, because here is the tweet from Franchesca Ramsey coming after him, and it's pretty out there. Let's read it. It says, "Never forget this man's anti-Semitic joke triggered the YouTube adpocalypse, which killed a lot of small channels and made it harder for everyone to monetize their vids, but especially marginalized creators. And now he's rewarded with an exclusive contract with YouTube, LOL." Okay, this is obviously sounding like she's upset. She's butthurt. She clearly lost revenue because of the adpocalypse, and that sucks. But to blame it on him is a little presumptuous. I mean, sure, that incident, there was a lot going on there. It wasn't just PewDiePie, but it's not like PewDiePie tried to do this. It's just he made a joke and then everyone got triggered by it. That's hardly his fault. I mean, you could blame him, but I don't think this thing is that anti-Semitic. You're allowed to joke about different groups. I don't know why certain groups get called racist or offensive if you make a joke about them. I've had the same problem, though. Basically, Jewish jokes are a no-no. And Franchesca even puts quotes around joke, implying he wasn't joking. Like, do we really think this guy hates these people? It's pretty ridiculous, especially considering he's signing this deal with YouTube, which is run by a lot of Jewish people, and you know, he supports America. He supports all these places that have large Jewish populations. So the idea that he actually hates them is ridiculous. And it's also very rich coming from a wild leftist like Franchesca Ramsey, because we all know the liberals are not the biggest fans of the Jews. They tend to not side with them. They side with their enemies more often than not. And they're not big fans of Israel either. But that's a whole other story. Basically, back to this adpocalypse. A few years ago, one of PewDiePie's jokes got highlighted by the media, and I would say the media and the people trying to take PewDiePie down, they're the ones that started the adpocalypse. PewDiePie wasn't making edgy jokes on purpose to try to spark controversy, but those media people were. They were trying to come after someone they didn't like, again, for the reasons we previously stated, and they went after him and started this whole diagram. Like, I remember there was this image of all these kind of creators that were sort of this kind of far-right network. I was actually on the picture too. There was a lot of YouTubers connected. Some of the people I stream with were on there, connected more, and just lots of different names. Like, some of them were more extreme channels. Some of them might have had some radical beliefs, but they were all also connected to like very vanilla, very PC mainstream people. For example, like the likes of Dave Rubin, Steven Crowder was on there, Stefan Molyneux, a lot of these other creators were on this list, and most of them have pretty normal views. Like they're just either a conservative or maybe Rubin is more of a classical liberal, I think what he might be called, but they're not extreme people like saying radically racist things. They're not saying, hey, we need to take out this country or push these people out. Like this isn't a very extreme thing. These are just people expressing political beliefs that the mainstream media doesn't like. They're a radical left-wing tint to them, and if they see conservatives, they just call us racist and they call us sexist and homophobic and all that stuff. It's just because you're on the right wing. If you're anywhere right of Stalin, you're a big racist in the 1940s German, but it's just simply not true. PewDiePie is not like this either, and this Franchesca Ramsey comment, it just to me seems like she's a little upset because her career on YouTube is pretty much over. She actually says more about this because look, right here she says, I'm hesitant to say I'll never return to YouTube, but this is one of the many reasons I declined invites to be part of their projects, especially because they think some folks should work for free. Okay, she's kind of implying YouTube is like enslaving black people like her. Little ridiculous, a little bitter, and also this is very rich coming from Franchesca Ramsey because she was built up and propped up by YouTube for years. I'm sure they threw a lot of money at her as well. She did all the speeches. She spoke at YouTube conventions, VidCon. She was shared all over the world because of YouTube. Like her whole career came from them. And then look how bitter she is. Look how ungrateful she is. She loses a few ads, a few things change in the algorithm, and now she's totally turning on YouTube. So this is a good, not really good. This is a bad look for her, but it's very interesting, and it shows how these SJWs, they'll turn on people on a dime. They do not care. They have no loyalty. They don't care if they've gotten a lot of money, a lot of fame and notoriety from a website like YouTube, which I'm very grateful to be here. I've had struggles and I've had trouble coming up and this and that, but I'm never going to turn on the site just because a few things change. Like I could be upset. I might try something new. I might try to move on to a new project or something. That's what happens. That happens in media and TV and entertainment all the time. But I'm not going to get bitter like Franny and turn on the website that made us successful. Now, I think it's even worse for her because I'm just more of an independent guy who brought myself up on my bootstraps. I did my own channel. I had very little help from anyone besides a few other channels that gratefully kind of shared my work in the beginning. But besides that, like YouTube did not prop me up. Like Franchesca Ramsey was put on a stage. She was presented as this representative of YouTube, and now she's turned on them after she's probably made a good fortune on the website. She's got multiple channels. She still produces videos like Decoded came back last year. She's had some shorts on Comedy Central. But for her to turn on them is very rich and very... it just shows how shallow and weak she is and how butthurt and how there's no loyalty here. There's no love lost. It's just a bad sign. Then Franchesca complains saying he's YouTube's cash cow. Cancel culture is really selective. YouTube is inherently racist, says Aquila. This is another failed SJW YouTuber. These ladies were relevant. Like, it's funny, Aquila and Franchesca are here complain about this, and they're saying the YouTube is inherently racist, offensive against them. But it's so ironic because Aquila and Franchesca are two of like the biggest SJWs who got propped up by YouTube for years. I mean, I know they're not as popular now, but I think that's their own fault. I mean, they were never officially popular before. They were artificially propped up, and they had their chance to kind of spin that off into something more successful, something people wanted to watch, but neither of them are making content that people want to see. I mean, both of them basically have given up on YouTube. They hardly post on it at all. I mean, that's another thing where it's like, it'd be one thing if they're still trying and posting every week or every day, but they're just basically moved on, and now they're bitter and upset, and they're trying to blame it on PewDiePie, who's just more successful than them. It's a very petty, very classic SJW turn. They'll always turn on their own. They eat themselves alive because you can't please women like this. These sorts of SJW minority women are always going to play the victim. They think everything is racist, everything is sexist, and everything's working against them, even though it's really not. In truth, what's really happening out there is the SJWs are falling out of fashion. I mean, they had their heyday 2015, 2016, even up until a few years after that, up until 2019, that stuff was still around, and it is still around too. Like, there's still SJWs taking over movies and Marvel comics and the films and stuff like that. It's still happening. We still have plenty of stuff to cover here, but the point is, and the fact of the matter is, the YouTube system and the SJWs out there, it's dying down. They're just not getting popular anymore. No one likes feminist garbage. They know that these people spout out flies. Their videos are crap. They're offensive. They're always attacking white people. They're always attacking America. They're very negative. People are sick of that. People want positive messages like you guys watching these videos that I make with a conservative lean, very anti-SJW. And granted, even the anti-SJWs have started to fall out of fashion because, you know, now that the SJWs are falling off, no one wants to hear about that anymore, as they don't want to hear about the antis anymore because there's nothing to combat against. But fortunately, we still have stuff to talk about, and also we have other things going on this channel, like talking about movie reviews, video games, South Park, and stuff like that. So we'll always be around, but these SJWs are definitely falling off, and they want to blame PewDiePie and other successful people, but I think we all know it's their own darn fault. Thanks for watching today's video, everyone. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below, and also hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. That really helps the channel, and it helps share this video around the internet. And thanks for your time again, and until next time, you guys have a good one.